Hello, sports fans, and welcome to Scott Sports 101 Browns preseason postgame show. Uh, the Browns lost to the Browns lost to the Washington Commanders Friday night, uh, 17-15 uh, at Cleveland Browns Stadium tonight. It was 17 to 15. Uh, and bright spot of the night for the Browns was safety Ronnie Hickman's recorded his second interception of the game against the Washington Commanders, just like his first half interception to end the first half. Uh, the second one was also in the red zone, ending another scoring chance for Washington. Hickman continues to uh, boost his chances to grab a roster spot after a really impressive second interception. He uh, out the ball out. Yeah, he he got the ball. He got it out. He got the ball. Uh, yeah, well, he out the ball of the air, and excuse me, after wrestling it away and making sure to secure an interception to shut the door on on a chance for points. Deshaun Watson looked really good against the Commanders, um, and uh, he had he was 3 for 3 in carries and attempts. Had 12 yards, but did not have a touchdown pass or interception. Kellen Mond was 7 for 12 carries and attempts, 79 yards, one touchdown pass. Joshua Dobbs, 8 of 16 carries and attempts, 77 yards. No touchdowns, but one interception. He threw an interception pass. And Dorian Thompson Robinson, 9 out of 10 carries and attempts, 102 yards, and one touchdown. And so, uh, yeah, they really good in this game. Um, um, and uh, and I gotta tell you, and there were four Browns that really stood out in this game. They say against Washington, right? One of them being quarterback Dorian Thompson Robinson has been electric in the Hall of Fame game and first preseason game. He bowls off his impressive Hall of Fame game performance and is making a strong case for quarterback number two position for the Browns this season. In the preseason game versus the Washington Commanders, Jordan had completed, as I said, 9 out of 10 passes for 102 yards, a touchdown, and a third quarter. And the third quarter, in the third quarter, to David Bell with 142.5 passer rating, with a 142 passer rating, excuse me. He racked up 11 yards on the ground, showing a little bit of his dual threat ability. He did all of this in only one quarter of play. As the preseason goes on, I believe he will continue to stand out in the quarters. He is on he is on the field. After watching his play the last couple of weeks, it leads one to wonder how he was able to fall to the fifth round in this year's draft. Thomas Robinson was simply outperformed by both Kellen Mond and Joshua Dobbs so far, along with he is outperformed Kellen Mond and Josh Dobbs so far, along with having a similar play style to Deshaun Watson. He will be a great fit for the offense in my mind, and I agree with that wholeheartedly. Uh, he is going to secure that backup spot behind Watson with ease, and he leaves Browns fans wanting more after every drive. Uh, he leads the offense. Uh, uh, and Cade York really and Braves Anthony Schwartz had no impact Friday, as you may have heard. Schwartz did not catch any uh, three targets in Friday's preseason game against Washington. Schwartz played with the second team off-season late in the first quarter and into the second quarter. He failed to hold on to one of his targets after getting hit and fumbling in last week's Hall of Fame game. At this point, he's not looking like one of the top 53, and he's he could lose valuable reps to others behind him on the depth chart. So that was another one that I wanted to mention that really had that was one that had no impact Friday. Uh, uh, whoops. Uh, uh, Austin Watkins Jr. was another one that stood out on the team that had a huge talent at the wide receiver position. Austin Watkins Jr. was the one who stood out the most in Friday's action. Watkins had a great game catching 6 of 8 passes. He has thrown his way for 71 yards, including a 19-yard catch on the fourth and sixth during Cleveland's final 4 and 6 Cleveland's final drive of the night. The final drive is also when he stood out the most. 2 passes for 28 yards. He was targeted 2 more times on the final drive, but was just overthrown in the end zone for a touchdown and unable to make a catch with two Washington defenders draped over him for the 2-point conversion. The former USFL wideout didn't catch a touchdown as he did in the Hall of Fame game, but he led the team in both receptions and receiving yards. He did play a majority of the snaps in the second half. Nonetheless, the 25-year-old receiver has played well in both preseason games thus far, and arguably the most competitive position on the team. Watkins is looking like a hidden gem the Browns might not be able to let go. Watkins has been fun to watch in the first two preseason games, and fans should see more of the same in the next two matchups versus the Eagles and the Chiefs. So, and number three, another one that was Millard Forstall tight end. Millard Forstall had a great performance in Friday's preseason action. Uh, Forstall caught every pass thrown his way and racked up 4 receptions for 66 yards. Forstall, who was competing for a roster spot with Harrison Bryant and Zaire Mitchell Patton, started making a nice case for why he should get some playing time this season. The 25-year-old going into his third season out of Alabama has not seen much playing time to begin his career and is looking to finally make some plays in the regular season. In his career thus far, Forstall has played in 6 games, none of which he has started, and never recorded a reception, which is hard when you only have a singular target in your career. However, as mentioned before, uh, Forstall is giving the Browns coaching staff a reason to give him some snaps after his performance in the first preseason game. And in an offense that has David Njoku, Forrestal will not be starting any games unless Njoku is out for a game. He still has a chance to make the roster as Bryant, the Browns tight end number 2 of the best of the last few seasons, has struggled thus this offseason and is currently out with a non-football health issue. Uh, there is no reported timetable for Bryant's return to football activity. So if he's still out by the time the regular season starts and Forrestal keeps making some noise in the preseason games, the Browns will likely keep him on the 53-man roster or at the very least practice squad member. So those are three that stood out. And the other one was Elijah Moore as well. And Elijah Moore has stood out stat-wise, but when he was on the field during the first drive, you could see the impact he's going to have in this offense. Moore only caught one pass for 6 yards, but in his lone rush attempt, this is getting the Browns fans excited to watch him this season. On the first offensive drive, the Browns more lined up for a play in the backfield, something that was talked about during minicamp. So when Moore would get the handoff, that he would bounce outside and pick up 13 yards. He may not be the top 3 in targets for the Browns this season, but he will be getting his fair share of touches. What makes this play stand out for so much is the defenses will be forced to play the run even with Nick Chubb on the sideline with Moore in the backfield. He opens up so many new opportunities for the offense. He brings a similar feel to Deebo Samuel does to the 49ers offense. The extra trickery and possibilities makes it that much more confusing to the opposing defense, and the extra element added to play calling makes his limited play stand out as much as it did. Moore did have a visit to the blue tent on the sidelines after his lone drive and ended up going to the locker room for his ribs. Thankfully, x-rays came back negative. Hopefully, this does not become a recurring problem, and Moore can continue to stand out for the Browns this season. But basically, they look good in this game, but they just come up short in this game. And it doesn't mean anything because it's only the preseason, but a lot of these Browns people, there's several Browns players that are standing out who could be in for a roster spot when the preseason ends and they have to cut down to a 53-man roster. Well, that's just about going to wrap it up for the Scott Sports 101 Browns preseason post-game show for preseason game number 2. I'll be back this week with a podcast or with the Browns preseason pregame show podcast on Thursday when they take on the Philadelphia Eagles at Lincoln Financial Stadium in Philly. But until then, always remember, be a team player each and every day in every way possible. So long, everybody. 3, 2, 1. I'm done.